All right, guys, Eric Cogorno here with my good buddy JT Thomas for Performance Golf. We're talking driver today. We're talking how to load your arms with your driver. Now, this is a concept that I don't think gets talked about a lot or enough, certainly.
For sure.
That's really a big one with your driver swing. That's gonna make or break a lot of things. In particular, your power, your ability to hit the ball far enough without a lot of effort.
Yeah.
Right? Effortless power is something we all want.
Yes.
We wanna go play golf, hit it far enough, feel like we're making these smooth, easy swings. And if you load your arms correctly in the golf swing, you can get that.
Yep.
But if we don't get that correct, it's a lot of trying to make up for that later on. And so JT, if you'll take your setup with our driver there, in terms of the arm and body motion, one of the things that I really like that you talk about is this idea of having the arms and club in front of you early, and then from there getting it behind up into the top.
Yes.
And so kind of let's assume someone hasn't heard that before. What are we talking about when we say that? Then we'll go through how to feel that.
Absolutely. So what I mean by that is essentially we have this space between our lead arm and our chest in the backswing, or space between our arms and our back in the backswing. What we see with a lot of poor golfers is essentially they use up all of their space way too soon. So we want to use up that space much later in the backswing. So that's what I mean by keeping the arms in front of you early and then kind of closing that gap or pulling them up behind you later. So that's the key. It's really how we load our arms and relative to our chest.
Yeah, super big. And one of the things we certainly see is that the golfer loads all of it too early, like you mentioned, but we also see the golfer who maybe never loads it at all.
Loads it at all, exactly.
Right? And so either like getting too deep too early or kind of no depth at all.
Straight up, exactly.
Yeah. And so let's start with the beginning piece, then we'll work our way to the top.
Great.
And in terms of feeling of the body, I know you like to talk about the navel or the belly button. What are we supposed to do with the body for the first half of the swing? And then we'll get to the top. And these also, JT, I've heard you say before that these are really the two key areas that could make or break the driver swing.
Yes.
Is that first couple feet, and then that like late backswing, early downswing. So how do we get those first couple feet correct? Yeah,
so the first couple feet correct, remember we're trying to preserve this gap or this space right between our arms and our chest because we need that room later on in the swing.
Yeah,
so,
and just like we're talking like literally if we were to have like this here.
Yeah,
the
exactly.
distance between the chest and the arm, it's okay.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So what we're trying to do early on is basically preserve that distance or keep that distance. And what you just did there would be a great drill for people to understand. Just take your right hand, put it in an L, put it right in the middle of your sternum, and then right on your bicep here.
Ooh, okay.
And so what we're gonna do is when we go back, we're gonna keep that space. So if I go back here, I keep the space in between my arm, like versus that. Again, I would close that space, crush my fingers. Okay. So it's really important, this space here, early on in the backswing, you just take it, put an L, you're gonna turn your body and keep that space. So now we've set up that position to be able to actually do the second half, which is pulling them back behind our body.
Let's not use our hands, let's use our body. Swing the arms back.
Main ultimate drill, effortless.
Hey, are you having trouble loading all these tips? I'm Martin Chuck, one of Golf Digest's top 7 instructors. If you're watching these videos but not improving, there's a reason for that. Most golfers don't realize this, but every player has about 5 swing flaws. The key to improving isn't trying to fix them all, it's knowing which one to work on first. Because when you fix the right one, it creates a domino effect that clears up multiple other flaws automatically. At Performance Golf, we use a process called the immersion method to find and fix your root swing flaw. This is a 48-hour in-person experience where you work directly with me or one of our other world-class coaches to fix the one thing that's been holding your game back. We host these schools at beautiful locations across the country where golfers like you improve fast.
I like most about the school is they're not trying to rebuild your swing and start you from scratch and change your grip and change this and that. And they look at your swing, they find the flaw, and you fix it. It's brilliant.
If that sounds like a breakthrough you've been waiting for, click below to see if there's a spot open. This could be the only thing that finally changes your game for good.
And in terms of feeling the body turn, are you focusing mainly on like core, lower body, upper body?
Yeah, basically more of my core. I'm thinking of like chest and belly button. And usually the kind of lower body will listen. But yeah, really trying to, because we can separate kind of a lot of things. We separate our pelvis and our spine. So what we don't want is we don't want to like turn the hips a lot and then my arms here is actually stuck. I can't really move it. So we're trying to feel the torso, the chest really move. The belt buckle should move a little bit as well. But that's what we're trying to see to kind of instigate the first part of the backswing.
Yeah, I love that. And before we get to the top, can you also show us the other drill that I love that you do a lot too? It's an oldie, but a really goodie.
Yeah, for sure.
To help keep those arms in front.
Exactly, yep. So you take the club, you put it pretty much right in between your sternum and your belly button. Hold the club out straight with your right arm. Lead arm's gonna be 6 inches or so in front of the shaft. You're gonna start to swing back, again, turning your chest. And you asked about where do I feel the turn? This is exactly where I feel it. So right in between my belly button and my sternum.
Okay.
That's where I feel the turn. And again, trying to keep my arms here right in front of that. You can go ahead and grab the club, and now you set up for a really good part of the early backswing.
Yeah, totally. And let's hit, why don't we hit one, JT?
Yeah.
Let's hit one like an 80%er out there.
Yeah, perfect.
And really on the first one, you're honing in on that early part.
Exactly. Just trying to making sure my turn is good, my arms are kind of in front of my chest, and then just hitting one out there, making sure you're doing the early part correct.
Yeah. Yeah, nice.
Yeah, sweet.
So let's say we get the early part correct.
Yep.
And we get the, let's see another one up there, JT.
Absolutely.
Let's say we get the early part correct and the club and arms are loaded in front. Our body and arms have turned together, let's say, kind of at the same time.
Yep.
We get into a good spot to prevent any issues early. What are we trying to do with the arms from there to the top?
Yeah.
They go from in front to where?
To behind. So a good way to think about it is you want to get them behind the midline of your body. So if you're in this down the line spot here, you can see my hands are sort of right along the midline of my body here. They're more in front, you could say. Well, now we want to get them behind us. So way behind the midline of your body, pulling your arms really across your chest is really important. So we want to close that gap that we preserved earlier on.
And some of the guys we really like as good visuals, Rory McIlroy does a beautiful job of this.
Maybe the best driver in the game.
He does okay off the tee.
Yeah.
Bryson DeChambeau does this really well. I know you mentioned Kyle Berkshire.
Yeah.
Guys that get a lot of power, especially Rory, you see, like, man, he's not a big guy,
no,
but he hits it so far. That's a big movement of it. Yeah. And JT, when you do that move, one of the things in terms of how you throw, right? If you can show us how that relates to the throwing motion of the arm across with this motion,
for sure.
I think it's a really good visual as well.
Yeah, so absolutely. If we were going to throw, or I was going to throw something, right, I wouldn't keep my right arm so close to my pec, right?
Yeah.
So if I was going to throw, I wouldn't keep it so close. I wouldn't throw it very far.
You never throw a ball this way.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah.
So you need some separation. And that's the whole point of really the top of the backswing. We want to create some of that stretch, some of that separation for effortless power. That's a big part of it. That's why Rory can hit it so far.
Yeah.
And so the feeling for that is you're trying to get that bicep or that right arm away from your chest as far as you can get it. Like opening a door is the way I describe it. If you have your arm right in front here, really pulling that arm or the elbow as far back behind you as you can.
Yeah.
And obviously once you have your left arm on the club, then now as I pull my right arm back, it pulls that left arm across the chest. We start to really build up some of that tension, maybe is what you'll feel. And not bad tension, but some good tension.
Yeah, yeah. And one of the things too, like you can feel some right arm only swings I've seen you do before, just to exaggerate that, to really feel that around.
Exactly. So yeah, I feel that. I feel a really nice stretch here in my back. You can obviously see from this face on, guys, my elbow's way behind my neck, way behind my head. And again, that's going to be huge for creating that turn. See how big of a turn I have just from getting my arm back there.
Yeah.
So it's a great cue for us as well to get some extra turn.
And that shoulder, that right shoulder is going to work up and around as you do that.
Yeah, way back. Again, as far as I can get it, and then you can kind of grab the club if you want with your left hand. You're like, wow, that is stretched out. That's exactly what we want for long drivers.
Yeah, and some people will be a little nervous about like, hey, aren't my arms going to be too far behind me? Isn't that going to be a problem? But from there, the golfer just able to get them back in front as part of the speed production.
Yes, as part of the speed, and also pulling them across, we get a little bit of them firing back in front.
Okay.
So, our muscles have, a little bit of elasticity to them. And so when we kind of stretch them one way, they'll stretch the other way. So
very good.
Really, really important for us. If we can get some of that stretch, that's where some of that effortless power comes from.
Love that. So let's do a couple rehearsals, JT. We'll put these together. So the arms in terms of loading, let's do both hands on.
Yep.
They're in front early.
Yep, in front early.
And then they're behind from there to the top.
Yep,
And when we sit timing wise, let's do the in front again.
Yep.
They're in front, what are we talking here? Like hip high?
Hip high to sternum high. So
Okay.
hip to sternum, we want to keep them in front.
Like the first half of the swing?
Yeah, first third of the swing.
First third of the swing.
Yeah.
First third of the swing, the arms are in front.
Yeah.
And then you're loading them behind from there to the top.
Exactly. Then we're
Okay.
trying to get them as far back as you can, really create that stretch.
Yeah, okay. Let's do 1 or 2 more rehearsals, then we'll hit one out there again.
So keeping them in front and really pulling behind.
And that's you feeling that arm around, shoulder around.
Shoulder around. I'm really trying to get this arm as far back as I can, like pulling it back.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're saying like the more you pull it back around this way, you're going to get that benefit of the forward motion.
Yes.
Without even having to do it.
Exactly.
Okay, got
Yeah,
it.
and if you don't do it, if you keep those arms in front too long, then you're not going to get any of that freedom. You're going to start doing things where arms get too far behind you in the downswing.
Okay.
All kinds of funky stuff. Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, let's smooth one out about 80%. Arms in front and then
Arms in front,
behind. Arms
and
in
then
front and then behind.
Exactly. Arms in front, then behind. Yeah.
Very good.
Awesome. Yeah, really good one.
So again, JT, I mean, you do a lot of these things really, really well, but the thing that we see is the best drivers of the ball, the guys that hit the farthest with the least amount of effort, do these things the most. And we don't need to go from where we are to Rory,
yeah,
but every like degree we get closer, the better we're gonna hit our driver.
absolutely, and farther.
And farther, easier, less effort. So effortless power we all want to hit the driver better. I think these are things that we don't talk about a lot, but the loading of the arms are super, super important. So give that one a go. Let us know in the comments down below what you think. If this video served you well, click that like button, subscribe. Appreciate you guys watching.